Out of all the policies that were stripped back and thrown in the trash, Trump era immigration policies, these three critical ones are the ones that really created the migrant crisis the most. Biden administration ends Trump era remain in Mexico policy. What is that? In a nutshell, it's this. Administered by the Department of Homeland Security, it requires migrants seeking asylum to remain in Mexico until their U.S. immigration court date. So Trump orchestrated it and fixed it so that if you want to come over here, you're asylum seeking, well, we'll hear you out eventually someday. Here's your court date, but in the meantime, you stay over there in Mexico. You stay there. You're not going to stay here so that you can, like many have done already, and wreak havoc in New York City. That's not what we're going to do.
It's leech
You
off
stay over
America.
there. And for the most part, that kept everybody at bay from south of the border because the goal isn't to come from all over the world to remain in Mexico. It's to come to the U.S., right? So with the remain in Mexico policy in place, there is no, that alone shuts down the migrant crisis. That alone, reinstating that would have shut it down alone, right? But then, even worse, what Biden turns around and does, Harrison Biden, I should say, what Kamala Harris and Biden turn around and do, after repealing and throwing away Remain in Mexico, they turn around and reinstate catch and release. Catch and release, in short, is simply the reverse of Remain in Mexico. So, as opposed to you asylum seeking, right, and having to wait your court date out in Mexico, when you cross the border illegally, you turn yourself in. We'll assign you a court date, and we'll assign you to a five-star hotel in New York and Chicago. We'll provide you with free housing. We'll give you cash cards, and we'll allow you to get driver's license as well in places like the state of Illinois, meaning Chicago. Shout out to J.B. Pritzker, right? Catch and release is just the complete 180 opposite of what Remain in Mexico is. Instead of Remain in Mexico, catch and release was remain in the U.S., but in a five-star hotel in downtown Chicago and in New York City. That's what that was. But on top of that, here's the real kicker. Kamala Harris and Biden put in place a deportation moratorium, which effectively stops all deportations. So not only do you end Remain in Mexico, but you reinstate catch and release, which is the complete opposite of Remain in Mexico. Catch and release should be, changed to Remain in the U.S. And then you put a stop to all deportation. And we can see that here by Joe Biden's deportation record, which is miserable. Under Trump, 2018, 256,000 deportations. In 2019, 267,000 deportations. In 2020, the year of the great illness, you see deportations is down to 185,000, but that's still a lot. That's still a lot. And then we get to the Biden era, 59,000 deportations in fiscal year 2020. Only 59,000. Mind you, prior to the Trump administration, the Obama administration was deporting illegal immigrants like crazy, up to the tune of 400,000 on average in his last 10 years, right? The last 4 years of his administration, averaging 400,000 deportations.
So that
And then by the time
means
you get to Biden, it's
the
59,000.
majority of the
We hadn't
ones that's
seen numbers
here
that low
already been
since
deported
1996.
before.
1996 was the last year in America when deportations were under 100,000. Then in